Hello and welcome to Stephanie B Creativity. And today we're making this absolutely adorable little polar bear. Now, this little guy can work as a hand puppet. Put your hand up inside. Can also work as a container cover, different size containers. See? Make things look really cute on your shelves. Who wants to see just a bottle of, painting medium when you can see a cute little bear? 2 ears, 2 arms, and the head body. 5 actual pieces to do this whole cute little bear. 100% done with just your 22-pin circular knitting machine. This will work on an Addy. This will work on a Sentro. This will work on a Singer. It'll work on whatever circular knitting machine you have that will handle the yarn you want to use. I'm using the Super Saver brushed acrylic. This is the cream color. It is a medium 4 and washable, dryable, all the good stuff. 100% acrylic. It goes through my little Sentro no problem. I say no problem. You know what that means. Every once in a while, you'll have a sticky stitch. You just slide it down and keep going. But one of the things that I really like about this yarn is this soft, fuzzy halo that you get. Look at that. We will be starting at the head end, and what we will be doing is this project is with the 22-pin only. One machine. You don't need two. I'm going to cast on. We are in tubular, going, circular knitting. We're just going to cast on all the way around. There we go. And then we will knit 20 rounds. All right, we've knit 20 rounds. We're going to leave the yarn attached. I am grabbing a piece of yarn. This yarn will be staying in the project. So get something that's kind of close to your color, but it doesn't have to be the exact same yarn. If your yarn slides through easily, you could use the same yarn. I'm showing it with a big twist white. And what we're going to do is just add this into the next round. So for this round, we're going to be knitting 2 pieces of yarn. What we're going to do is make a drawstring. So this is round 21. Let's see, dag nabbit. Didn't quite make it long enough, but that's okay. It'll still work. So if you cut your yarn too short, my suggestion is don't cut your yarn until after you've gone all the way around. Big tip there. If you're making a drawstring, don't just guess the yarn. Either wrap around your machine twice or don't cut it until you get back to the beginning. But I'm just going to leave it. That's fine. And now I am going to do another 20 rows. All right, I'm going to take my own advice this time. I've got a piece of yarn that's going to wrap around 1, 2 times. And now we're going to knit another drawstring. This makes the easiest drawstring ever. Come on. Pop down. There we go. And then you drop your drawstring. You don't want to knit the round completely closed. You want your ends to be free. I'm going to reset my counter. I have a little digital counter on this, so it's really easy to keep track. I am going to now knit 70 rows. And this is for going down the body, and back up the inside. So here we go, 70 rows. So we're going to do little arms. These arms on my prototype were crocheted. I want to see if I can make flat panel arms and try and do this whole thing without the crochet hook. Now, I do have a crochet hook just in case. Casting on every other. And I want to cast on probably 15 stitches. Oops, don't go. I have to put this back in the, there we go. Need to cast on 15 stitches. This is a test. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Now, something I've noticed with this yarn is that the fuzz works up best to the inside. So that's why my little bears are purl side bears. And this is probably way too long, but what I'm going to do, I will draw this end in. I will draw this end. I could, now you can see how the ear would be formed, right? But I'm going to make my ears smaller. But to make the hands, I am going to be rolling those edges in and then stitching down the side, and we will have really nice arms. Oh, I like that. I probably would make this a little bit, make them a little bit smaller, but you know, you don't have to. So now I can make sure that that side edge gets rolled in, and then just, because these are purl bumps, it's easy to just go back and forth and whip stitch through the purls. So that's what I'm going to do. My needle is still threaded with the long tail, and you can't really see these bumps very well, but I can. So I'm just going to go down and pick up a purl bump on each side and just work my way back and forth. This is not grafting. This is just kind of purl bumping. You do not have to stuff the arms, because of rolling the fabric up. You're basically rolling the stuffing right in. The knit work that you did is also the stuffing. Just make sure that those cast on, or those side edges, get work to the inside, that you don't have the outside edge of your panel. You want purl bumps all the way down, and then, so you're not even going to be able to see those stitches. Even though you can see them, you're not even going to. So there we go. We've got one arm. I will make a second arm and meet you back here. Oh, something that you can do. You can pull a little bit and it will curve the arm. So when you stitch it on, he's got cute little paws. Oh, that's perfect. And leave your long tail because you're going to need it to sew it on. So just like making the arms, I cast on. I'm doing 7 stitches for the ears and 10 rows. I will make 2 ears. We will shape them with a little bit of the yarn that's left on the needle from the long tail cast off, and then we'll be sewing them onto our bear. Let's skip ahead to putting it all together. All right. First off, I'm going to stretch and stretch. I am not bringing the drawstrings outside or to the right side of the fabric because on this one, the right side is the wrong side. We're going to turn this with the purl bump side out. And the whole thing is going to be made purl bump side out because that is where all the fuzzies are. See where all the fuzzy soft. Right now, I am going to take this end right here, and it is going to get closed, just like a hat. Draw that up, and then stitch it down. So I'm going to go around all of those gathered up loops. This was the cast on edge loops. Doesn't really matter, they're all going to just get drawn up. Yeah, this is just drawn up, tied off with a knot. Leave a tail. It's going to be on the inside, you don't have to worry about it. So now that is going to get shoved inside. Up to your drawstring. Now this is the actual top of the head. This one down here is your neck. So the top of your head, what we need to do now is put a ball of stuffing in the head. You don't need a lot. You want the head to be firm-ish, but it doesn't have to be hard. You know, this is a friendly toy. This is a friendly toy. You do want it to be firmly done so that when you draw down your cords, it has a round head, but you don't want the stuffing poofing out. I think that'll be good. I'm going to draw my neck cord slightly. I'm not going to draw it down tight all the way. Looks like I dropped a string. Nice thing about if you drop some stitches up near the neck, doesn't matter because it's going to go down. Picking up these stitches on the inside just so that they don't poof out. Nobody's going to even notice them. So what we're going to do is draw this neck down, but we're not going to draw it down completely tight. And the reason why, you want to be able, once this is all flipped up inside, you want to be able to get your fingers, see right now you can see it, inside the neck. But we're not worried about making it go inside the stuffing part of the head. It will make more sense in a minute. So right now we're going to drawstring the top. And I'm noticing that my actual working yarn loops kind of stuck up. I'm not worried about that because I'm going to be stitching across the top of the head flat. So it works to have those loops out, I guess. I am going to use the same yarn that one's going that way, or I could just go and pick up all those little loopies. Just pick up all those little loopies. They're not live stitches. It's from when I pulled my drawstring. Since this is fuzzy yarn, the stitches remain standing proud. All right, so we're going to pull those stitches down, but we're not going to have them completely cinched in to a starburst on the top. I want it to be flat between his ears. So what I'm going to do is tie this off. We're just going to run it around back through the stitches. We don't want the top to pop open. And it won't because we're going to stitch it even more. Give it another round just for good measure. Poke it down through and out. And poke this one down through. And out. Clip them off. And mush this into a ball. Look at that. So let's see here. Now what we want to do, because I'm not worried about closing that up yet, I want to get the whole body finished. And to finish this body, I need to turn the head back inside and stitch the bottom to the neck. So I'm going to draw this in just a bit, just so I can match up the stitches a little. See what I did here? There's the head. So we'll flip it back out so you can see. All I'm doing is taking the body, I'm splitting it in half and tucking this inside, okay? And then I'm taking the body and flipping it over the ball. Now by having that liner on the head, see how the stuffing is all enclosed. You're not going to be touching the stuffing. The stuffing can't just escape when you're not watching. And now I'm going to take this that is the cast on line, and I'm going to use that to stitch to my gather line on the neck. So you just have to roll it out while you're doing it. I'll show you. Just kind of keep it pretty much the same size there. Take your yarn. This was the cast on line that we pulled loose or pulled through to gather the bottom. Which way am I going? I'm going to go this way, which is continuing the direction that this yarn was going. So this yarn, this tail, if I went back, would work also. I just like to continue working. So if I need to pull it down a little bit snugger, I still have the ability to do that. But there's a loop right here from the drawstring. I'm going through that loop, and I'm going through the area where the net gather was. I'm just working back and forth. And because I'm working in the same direction, I'll be able to pull this down a little bit snugger. And sometimes you pick up 2 stitches. It's okay, just get it closed up. But you don't want to stitch across this hole. Don't stitch across this, because this right here is where your fingers are going to set inside. But it will be smaller because, kids, their hands are smaller. I have very small hands, so I think my 6-year-old grandson's hands are almost as big as mine. 5-year-old grandson. He's not 6 until the spring. My 5-year-old grandson, his hands are almost as big as mine. He's a big boy. And remember, our drawstrings for the neck are still outside, on the right side of the body. So we can, see how I can adjust it by holding on to my drawstring, my sewing string here. There we go. Really close. I think I've gone around at least once already. So now see, right now, it's got this lovely little divot here where you can put your fingers. So now we've got our neck. I'm going to let's see. What do I want? Do I want to pull that drawstring out? Do I want to pull the drawstring out? Don't think I do. So I made this one a little bit bigger. All right. All right, if you have enough of the length of this, what I would suggest doing is from the liner, and I am going to actually stitch this from that neck hole here onto the headliner on the inside. And what that's going to do is it's going to keep that neck and head attached to each other, but give you this lovely little divot to rest your fingers. Across, bury that thread between the layers. Make sure that you don't leave any loose threads on the inside because they will be found. Push this out. And now you've got a spot where your fingers can rest. There you go. So now you've got a spot for the fingers to rest in there. I am going to get my drawstring just pulled back through to the inside. That's why you wanted to use something that was, pretty much a similar color. I'm going to take this one up into the head, I think, just because it's easier. And take this one up inside the head. Just go back through the hole that's there, up through the head. Whoopsies. Take those off. We're going to grab the arms and ears. I need to put a little bit of yarn on this arm because I accidentally cut it off. It looks like I've got a little drop stitch right here. I'm going to go ahead and sew my arm over that because then it'll be hidden and it'll be reinforced. So I'm going to start at the head and come down to the shoulder. By putting the arms on first, I don't have to worry about where the facial features are. I'm stitching the shoulder right up to the edge of the neck. So figure out which way is front and get it stitched on. Whatever way makes sense for you. Because I have that little drop stitch that I wanted to make sure that I got contained, I'm kind of twisting a little bit. There we go. All the way across the arm, up to the kind of the base of the head where the neck is. And to the body. I like to stitch all the way around the arm, so I flip it up and stitch it down to the body also. Just going back and forth, whip stitching it on. Under the arm area there. And then, see, I need to come across a couple more stitches. And one more stitch up to the edge of the arm. And then through the body, through the arm, up to the neck. There we go. That's on nice and tight. All right, so now I'm going to take this thread, this yarn, back through the arm a couple times, down, turn around, come back out. There we go. Stitch the other arm on. Down through the arm, across one stitch, and back through the arm. So here we go. Smoosh. It's always fun to smoosh these while you're working on them to make sure that you can still do everything you need. So I'm looking at this going, I want his little arms to not be like wings. So I am going to stitch the arms down just a bit. through multiple layers of the arm. There. Well, I guess that brought it down a little bit. Yeah, that brought it down. Okay, get that arm stitched down. All right, now ears. Grab the yarn, sew the ears on. And this is where we're closing up the top of the head also. So I'm going to put this ear, here's the hole, we're going to go across it flat, so I want the ear right here, right where it's going to be flat with the head, like that. That's just the way I like it. You can put your ears anywhere. And it's a little bit fiddly. If you need to, grab some stitch markers or something to hold it in place. And just whip stitch that ear on. However it makes you happy to put it on. I do like to go around the, along the front edge. I do want to make sure that it's well attached. So I go along the front edge of the ear, then I go make sure that I catch the corner of the ear. If these ears were slightly longer, they would be bunny ears. Catching that corner and then going around the back and doing the same thing, catching part of the head and then whip stitching into the ear. And then part of the head. See? Cool thing, this yarn hides so many little imperfections, all those little things that make it a handmade, with love, little fun toy. Now, this is, like I said, it can be a hand puppet, it can be a bottle cover or container cover. So just stitch this, whoops, I'm going to stitch the top of the head, just whip stitching it closed, just over and around, over and around. Nice thing about it, this particular, like I said, this thread, this yarn can hide a lot of stuff. I'm going to go run that back through, tie it off, and hide the ends. Then that ear will be done. So run it through, bring it out next to the other one, tie it off. Little ears, oh so cute. So right here is where I'm going to start stitching that. And if his ears are wonky, he is a unique, one-of-a-kind individual, just like you. However it makes you happy to stitch it. Through there, back up through there. I've already stitched the top. I don't need to stitch it again. Grab those two ends together. It's always easier if you can take both ends at the same time, but sometimes you can't get it threaded on your needle. I'm lucky this time. Got it on my needle. Down through. Actually, I think I'll go through and I'll just go across through those stitches on his head and come out behind that ear. Oh my goodness. How cute this is coming out. Now all we have to do is stitch on his little face and he's done. Now, this would be a bit of a stretch for a grown-up. Like I said, I have really small hands. So I can get my hand inside. Okay? My hands are small though. So if you have big hands, this one might be a little bit of a trick for you, but you can always use it for covering containers. Look at that. Oh, wow. Cute container cover or hand puppet. Let's get his little face on and then we'll be all done. I've got just a piece of big twist black yarn. I'm going to put his nose on first and then I'll do his eyes. So his nose is going to be right here in the middle. And I like to kind of mold the stuffing a little bit. So look. See how I've molded that? So then I can really get his nose where I want it. I'm going to just come up from under the chin. I'm going to keep the tail out. I'm making his nose about 3 columns wide, maybe 4. I'm going to be drawing it in, making it tighter as I go, but starting off, I'm going to go across. Now I came in the stitch. I'm sort of making a triangle right now. All right, that's kind of a triangle. I might want to work that out where I've got it that stitch right here on the one side of his nose. I think I'm going to work that, make it a little bit wider. About half a stitch wider. Now this is where you just have to play with it. So once I've got my top stitches and a couple stitches at the bottom, so see that's going across funny. It's okay. I'm going to pull that out. All right, this is where you just have to play with your design. I think I'm going to kind of whip around his little nose stitches here at the top so that I can kind of anchor them together. It also gives me a bit of a space to anchor the next row. So I'm going to go through my little whippy stitches and around and through the little whippy stitches. You could put the plastic eyes on if you wanted to. You would have done that a long time ago. I like the sewn eyes mostly because sewn eyes are less expensive. So, you know, I'm all for saving some money while doing these things, because I know me. I get in and start making a ton of things, and this actually slows me down a little bit, helps me to enjoy the process. You could sew a felt nose on, but look at that. Now we've got this beautiful nose. It's almost like a woven nose. I'm going to come here, come down through the middle of that, and just grab 2 stitches below the nose and come back up. One more stitch. Come back up through the nose. That gives us that little bit of a separation, little bit of a muzzle, you know, where his little mouth is. But we're not, you know, telling the whole story. We're not making the whole thing. We're leaving room for imagination. So now, top of the nose, I'm going to go over 2 and up 1. So top of the nose, I'm going to go over 1, 2, and up 1. Oh, I didn't get up the up 1. There. Okay. And now I'm going to figure out where's the eye. I like to do this. Kind of put my fingers where the eyes are going to go. So I need to move up 1 more. Figure it out as you go. Yep, there we go. That's where I want it. And I'm going to do a similar thing with the eye. I'm going to make 2 or 3 stitches kind of in a similar area. And then I'm going to start sort of stitching and whip stitching into that eye. See, there's that and that. And then I see I want 1 more line below the eye, below where that eye is right now. So I'm going to come back through. Just make your eyes look the way you want them to look. I just don't like having a bunch of white showing from the yarn from the body. So I just keep working it until it is kind of the density that I want. Now when I am done stitching the eye, I am not cutting the thread. So not cutting the thread. I'm going to go kind of straight over. Let's see here. There's that, there's that. Kind of straight over. And make the other eye. And by doing it this way, I'll be able to pinch the eyes a little bit to get that really sweet sewn in eye. There. One. Needle sticks to your finger sometimes. 2. 3. 4. I'm going to come along here. And I'm going to do that little whip stitch into the eye to help make it feel a little more substantial. Now, I've got this kind of messy edge here. I'm going to come back through and whip stitch to collect those little ends. Through the black only. There we go. Whip stitch. Going to come back up to that top one. There we go. I'm going to stitch back across to the first eye. Just into the corner. Pull it. Not too tight. Stitch underneath of those stitches a couple times. That locks it in. Come back out through the original hole that I went in. Oh, he is so adorable. Just a recap now. 2 ears, 2 arms, and the head body. 5 actual pieces that you made to do this whole cute little bear. 100% done on the Sentro 22 knitting machine. It is very soft, very cuddly, and oh, so cute. Remember to take care of yourself, be creative, and be kind. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.